Again. Hey, Dan, we lost.
How long was that gone for? Meeting is now live streaming. Am I live?
Hey, Dan, you there now?
You're
See your
back?
face moving. I can see you moving.
I mean, I am here, but like, are you all here?
Yeah, you were just talking about
How far did I get before I got cut off?
Well, I don't know what I missed.
Okay, well, look.
You were talking about so like
pounds.
£1 to £1.
So all I was going to
percentage rate, and you basically said just shy of 1%.
Yeah. So all I was trying to get to was that all of these digital versions of coins are privately owned, and there's lots of companies that make lots of them. Richard was talking about USDT, which stands for USD Tether, and Tether is the name of a company, let's say, that make them. And when they have a T at the beginning, that seems to be a company called Trust. So there's a Trust GBP, there's a Trust USD, there's a Trust Singapore, Trust Euro. Because to go to what you were saying there, Richard, is like, how well do you are holding some money in there? I've got hesitations over Tether. Because everything I read about them, they won't audit themselves because they're meant to hold. If you're giving out $1 million in digital coins, then to have that 1-to-1 ratio, you're meant to be holding $1 million in your bank. But Tether seems to just be making like 100,000 coins the other month, and they won't allow themselves to be audited. They're owned by Bitfinex, I'm pretty certain, who have got a bit of smoke around them sometimes when it comes to trading and some of the stuff and some of the outages that have happened on their platform. So my view at the minute is like, I'm pro as a company, this trust company. They seem to be far more legit about having stable coins that are stable. And I would imagine one of the reasons Alan's moved it into pounds is because it's another level of thinking to move your money into dollars. Whereas if you're used to pounds in a bank account and you move to digital pounds on a platform, in a way, that's a nice sideways step. But I think it would be very good. I'd like Richard's take on USD, but I think it would be very good to also for Richard and for anyone else listening. And I've frozen again. But if I haven't frozen, it would be really good for people to understand the risk. What on earth? No. Quit.
I heard we could hear you. You froze your face.
Okay, I'm turning like all non-essential services off now. Let's have a look. Let's move that up there. There we go.
Daniel's back.
Daniel's back.
Richard's not.
I don't know what's happening, Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hear you.
All right. Everything's turned off, other than like something I have to keep on. So much for buying a brand new.
Apollo 13.
All right. So what if I didn't get cut off? Then I wanted to make sure people understood risks, because Alan, and I get where you're coming from, Alan. It seems really safe moving from here to there, but until we get answers on certain things, there are risks. And I think the biggest risk is, what if the platform goes down? Now, it would appear that Crypto.com is insured for a lot of money and that any coins you hold in Crypto.com are secure. and if they lose them, you get paid out. I don't know how fast that would be. I don't know how trustworthy that is. And these are questions that I don't know. Like, all of us pretty much trust a bank, at least to say that if the bank got robbed, you wouldn't lose your money. But if a platform gets hacked, even if they're insured, what if it takes 6 months for them to pay out, and that's 50% of your savings? It's really, really important. And Virginia's made a good point, and we say this every week: if it's not your keys, it's not your coins. Absolutely. But if you're putting your money somewhere for custody, just like putting it in a bank, if it's in the bank, you could say it's not your money, and try taking it out in times of need, and you'll soon see if they say no. Like, I had my account frozen once. You shouldn't have realized that it's not your money. They're holding it. It's their rules. So it's just really good to understand that. And I really want Alan to make sure that you understand that, because I think last week we said that you'd send an email in, just asking, if I hold £1,000 in digital pounds on your platform and you get hacked, am I protected? Nice, simple. So it would be really good for us to get a definitive answer on that, because I think these are the things that are really important to begin to actually trust. Because other than that, absolutely get your money off a platform. Don't leave it on there. But if you're using a platform for a return base, for an ROI, and you trust it, then of course stay on it. So Alan, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Cool. Let's do some collective growth. How do you feel about raising that question with Crypto.com this week? And just ask them really bluntly, really almost naively. Do you know what I mean? It's like really layman's. If I put more money into you and you get hacked, what happens?
Yeah, that's fine. Would it be just done through the usual channel of communication?
Yeah, if you go through the when you're on Crypto.com's platform, it is in the top right hand side. You'll see like a chat symbol.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you're looking now. I'll take a picture.
Let's have a I've got my phone here.
I'm putting a photo into the group now so that so you can see it. 1 second. There you go. There's a photo in the group. When I've had to raise questions with them, that's where I go, and they usually respond within about a week.
Okay.
I think they've had a lot of adoption recently, so they're a bit behind.
Yeah.
Cool. So, so that's what all these different stable coins are. That's what a stable coin is, and the reason they call it stable is because it will always be 1-to-1, $1 to one real dollar, one digital pound to one fiat pound, and they're good to understand. But there's different brands. I'd love, Richard, do you feel up for giving an explanation a bit further on why you said what you said, that some of your portfolio you would put into dollars rather than pounds, just so that people can understand that a little bit more?
Well, portfolio aspect, I think it's, I think when we started having all these calls right at the start of lockdown, or before, I can't remember when it was now, but we were talking about how to, there was an incoming crisis of global proportions and how it was going to affect everyone's pensions, savings, and all the threats and the risks to everything. So over time, basically, I've done a deep dive into just basically splitting the where any money that I've got is split over different. I've got a different way of splitting it up, from sort of ways to make money from it, ways to keep it inflationary proof, deflationary proof, in a growing economy and in a falling economy, and then also things that might sort of grow. But the golden rule, I'm not any sophisticated investor by any stretch of the imagination, but is to, it's about hedging your bets basically, and hedging your portfolio into different markets because, you know, as I said before, you know, if the pound drops and the dollar goes up, then I don't want all my money in pounds, but I need to spend pounds, so I still need to keep some in pounds, right? So to me, it's around putting it into, you know, silver, gold, cryptocurrencies of all different types, and that's a very exciting, you know, thing to look at. And then anything else that that I need to is to put it into. I mean, an ideal in terms of currency, people would put it into, I think, dollars, pounds, yen, yuan, euro. You would spread it literally across all those different currencies to literally hedge your bets. I don't think I would ever go to that level myself, but my view is that I probably anything that I buy in the future to try and well, basically protect what money I have got and to try and grow it, and by buying further assets will be done in dollars, because that's going to be the greatest power. So if I don't turn it back, if I turn it from dollars back into pounds, then I should, in theory, if the dollar goes up, have more pounds than I will if I'd left it in pounds, basically.
Yeah.
So that's my reasons for doing it. There's lots of macro reasons that can get very, very complicated very, very quickly in terms of why the dollar will go up over in a short term and go down over, you know, in the medium term. So I don't know whether you want to discuss that or not, but that, you know, between us we can kind of explain that a little bit. But I don't know if it's relevant to it now, but I think
Yeah, no, I think we'll hold that for now, but that would be really good to because I sometimes one of the things I'm thinking is actually just do little micro calls discussing something, because then people can refer back to it and it's there. I think that will be more useful, and also with kind of the way that some of us have been working on it with yourself, Richard, and with Oliver, I think that would be quite useful to just some of our calls that we have to just capture certain moments of that and then hand that out so that people can understand it. Because I'm conscious of time and I want to cover a few more things. Really simple things. One of the comments that's on Facebook is that someone's interested in passive income but don't know where to start, or more specifically, what to trust. And like, trust is the golden currency of any industry. So I think that I'll probably take your document, Richard, and maybe at the beginning or at some point, just have a think about, so far, through the group of us, this is who we've deemed to be at the upper end of all the trust scale. It's still up for each person to do their own due diligence, but like right now, sites like Coinbase, Crypto.com, and Binance are fairly stable sites. People might have some issues around Coinbase a little bit, but for the most part, they've got the best interest of the people using them. But it's really important to just know there are hundreds of exchange sites out there, and there's a lot of them that have had a lot of smoke around them. I know that Virginia was talking about Kraken earlier. I quite like Kraken, and I think one of the reasons I like Kraken is you can't hold your money on it. Is Kraken the one where you link your hard wallet to it?
I don't know, because they wouldn't give me an account.
I'm pretty certain it's either Kraken or Shapeshift. It might be Shapeshift.
Not even heard of that one.
with Kraken, I mean, I've not actually got anything on it. I have got an account, but I know that basically you end up with a temporary wallet. So they sort of provide you with a temporary wallet address for each crypto. And yeah, you can link it to another wallet, basically. For that reason, I've not really gone a huge amount further with it at this moment in time, because I'm not trading or moving things around, so I haven't sort of gone further with it. But when I did log into it, I saw the temporary wallet and I thought, well, that looks risky. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
So,
I think they're trying to say that short term, you move something on, you make your trades, you move it off. Because
exactly,
there's a big, one of the big issues people have with exchanges is, what if the exchange goes down? But if you're never putting your money on an exchange, if you're just going on an exchange and saying, here's my wallet, and I'm willing to trade this, and that might create some smart contract, I don't know. But the idea is that you own your public key, you own your private key, and you're just kind of docking, so to speak, whatever you want to put onto the exchange. The downside is obviously these exchanges have less volume, so they're less liquid, but probably for the sort of levels that people are using for, they'll be perfectly fine. But the idea is that you've got full custody, full security of your money, and there's die-hard crypto people who are like, everything's got to be mine, no privacy. They don't do KYC. They'll work on exchanges that are out of the loop. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you've got people who are everyday regular Joes who are wanting to just understand money a bit more and use crypto, and that's going to need KYC and know your customer and regulated exchanges and wallets and all of that stuff. So I think there's space for both and understanding them and where they fit for sure.
Yeah.
So one of the things that Andy mentioned, although I thought Virginia mentioned it, to be fair, someone said, is it worth investing in lots of different crypto and altcoins? I think you both mentioned it, actually. Virginia, are you mainly just Bitcoin and Ethereum?
No, I've
got all of them.
Several different.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
haven't got a stable coin though, and I have got DAI, which I had on Compound, and it was doing nothing because it was like tied to the dollar. So I don't really understand. So that would be at some point interesting to know, because I'm looking at putting my DAI into an Argent wallet, which is going to give me like 10%. But doing Compound on Exodus with my DAI wasn't making me, in fact, it seemed to be losing me a bit of money. So I didn't really understand how that worked.
Is that the only place you've done it? Is it on Exodus? Yeah.
So I've now converted it from CDAI to DAI, and I need to do something with it.
So as far as I know, so I'm just checking it out now. I thought it was. So DAI is a stable coin for the dollar. It is. Yeah.
But having it on Compound wasn't doing anything. So now
when you say having it on Compound, because there's a coin called Compound.
No,
Compound
it's
interest.
Not Compound interest. Exodus has a Compound thingy where you can put your DAI in, and it becomes CDAI, Compound DAI, I guess. But it wasn't. Are they supposed to make money, or are they just supposed to stay stable?
Well, they won't. They're not. They're definitely. Well, my layman's view of stable coins is you wouldn't invest in a stable coin to grow, because it will always be the same value. The only reason you'd invest to grow is if you're looking at it as some sort of store of value. So Richard's view earlier is, well, I'm going to put some of my portfolio into US dollar, digital US dollar, because I believe over the next 3 years, the ratio of pound to dollar. Well, actually, if you think the US dollar is going to get stronger, then the pound would get weaker. But Richard wouldn't be converting back to pound.
Yeah, got it.
He's spending in dollar, so it's better for him right now. We've got whatever ratio we have. Just hang on, Richard. I'm a bit blanked on that. If you waited, if the dollar gets stronger, I've blagged mad a few times with this. As the dollar gets stronger and the pound gets weaker, then would it go that way, not the other way? I'm thinking weaker, I'm thinking lower, but you'd actually get less. Would you get less dollars?
We had this chat the other day. It depends at which point you know, if you're making money in dollars and turning it back into pounds, you're always going to end up with more. You know, you're going to end up with more pounds at the end of the day, aren't you? But yeah, if you move it from one to the other and then back again, then you kind of, you know, you're in danger of weakening your own position. So to me, it's about, what am I going to buy in dollars? And so if I put it over into dollars and the dollar goes up, then, you know, any assets that you buy that are in dollars, you've got more buying power.
Yeah.
And so
where you're doing it 3 or 4 ways, where you actually get more dollars for your pound by going through the euro and the yen and then to dollar.
Well, that's
quite either.
Yeah, she's on about Basically, is it called scalping or arbitrage, where you
Oh, I'm not
move
doing
from?
that.
I know I don't like it.
I know that when I go to Hungary to visit family, sometimes the pound, what I normally do is change it to dollar, to euro, and then to Hungarian currency, because you actually get virtually double than what you do if you just do a straightforward pound to Hungarian currency.
Yeah, arbitrage. Well done, you.
Nice.
That's so. Hang on, just so I'm clear, because I was about to say how much benefit would that give you? Are you saying then that for
Right, if I went to Hungary with £100 and you get about 350 forint per pound, if I did it via changing it from pound to dollar, hang on, which way did I do it? I can't remember whether I did euro, then dollar, or dollar, then euro, and then Hungarian currency. I got somewhere around 700 forint, 710 forint per pound, than if I'd have done a straight from pound to Hungarian currency.
I mean, that's a worthwhile. If you can find that for pound to dollar, yeah, we'd definitely be interested in. I'd definitely be interested in trying that out.
I did a day course a while ago on forex and dealing and stuff, and this is where I got a lot of hints and tips. And Alison.com do a lot of free courses, so I picked up a lot there as well. And I thought, I'm going to try this out. And even my mum couldn't believe that we actually had double the amount to spend than what we thought we would.
Brilliant.
What's the name of that site you said that gives free courses?
Alison.com.
Alison?
Yeah.
Like the girl's name?
Yeah, Alison.com.
Okay.
The only thing you pay for is if you want the certificate at the end.
What I don't understand with that, and let's pick this up on another call, but surely then if at the beginning you got 350 florins to the pound, if you ended up with 700 florins, then you could just convert those back into pounds and you'd have nearly 200 quid.
Well, a little bit less than that, but yeah. But we were going on.
Money laundering.
I'm definitely interested in that.
Well,
You can.
I mean, I know, for example, we talked about staking at length last week. I know some people don't know fully what it is, but I mean, staking, very briefly, is kind of lending money to an exchange for them to make more money from, and they pay you a return, right, and interest on it. But I've seen some people, and it depends what platform you're on and which coins you want to stake, but you can basically put sounds a similar thing to what Andy's doing, but in the crypto space, where you put some money into an exchange, and it might be some random coin that I can't think of at the moment. Let's just call it DAI, for example. You stake some DAI, and then you collateralize that against another coin on another platform. So you move, and they then lend you more money against what you've put in. So it's kind of collateralized but fractionalized at the same time. And then you can move that around. You move it around to about 3 or 4 different coins. And you've done the same sort of, you end up doing the same sort of thing as what Andy's done, where you've borrowed some money, turned it into more because you've staked and collateralized it, then moved it around into 3 other different coins and into the final platform. And you can end up making around about 30 to 40% by doing that. Now that's beyond something that I would probably actually want to do myself, but it's an example of how you can actually make money across all markets. Andy's doing it with traditional sort of fiat money, but there's a way to do it. And there's lots of these trading platforms out there that do this and allow to give you a return. I'm part of one where you can get a passive income, and it's potentially highly risky, but this is the kind of thing they're doing. And then they're actually trading Forex against, say, the Chicago Stock Exchange and then various cryptocurrencies. So they're very, very complex in what they're doing. They're moving money around and then trading it across different platforms and different currencies in different countries and giving you a return from it, basically.
When does arbitrage become scalping?
Well, scalping, my understanding is like ridiculously quick trades. So arbitrage is usually using 4 different currencies and playing them off against each other, usually against the rise and fall of each one. And basically, you quite often need an algorithm to be able to do it effectively. But scalping is literally just taking fractions very, very quickly and moving them around quickly. That's my understanding of scalping. It's like arbitrage just means there's 3 or 4 different currencies that you're playing against each other.
I'm hearing. I remember people talk about scalping bots, so that's why bots will be included in scalping, because it's fast, lots of micro trades.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So one of the things that Virginia brought up earlier, and I know it's come up a lot when Alan's brought up certain things, and Virginia, you mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, you said, oh, well, there's a lot of conversation about prices at the minute, and that the price might go all the way down, and you said 8K, is that right?
Well, I've seen some people say it could go right down to $3,500. I mean, really, really dump.
Yeah. Because the reason I was going to bring that up is because I was going to mention that when you said all the way down to, I was ready for 3. But when you said 8, like, if it dumped to 8 tomorrow, I don't even know if I'd noticed that. It's one of these things that, especially with Bitcoin, this price range, this 9-8 grand, like it's consolidating around here now. There is absolutely the same with everything. Like, it could easily dump all the way down. Of course it could. The only question you've got to ask yourself, and this is fundamentally what we always come back to, is what is your belief in the future of this market and where it's going to? Because if you really believe that the future of currency is going to be digital, if you really believe in and specifically if you believe in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's very different to all the others, it really is. If you believe in it, then it's one of these things that it doesn't actually matter if it dumps to 3. The question becomes, if you think it's going to dump to 3, is 1, do I just leave it? 2, do I hold some money, and if it dumps to 3, buy a bit more?
Absolutely.
Or do I sell and wait for it to dump to 3 and buy back in? And I think they're the only 3 questions you ask. Because if you're in it for the long haul, then, along the way, stuff's going to happen and it's going to be crazy. And once, I think you said you've been in it for 3 months. Once you've been in and seen some major drops, like the biggest drop I've seen for myself was I saw the 10.5 grand down to 3 grand. And that was crazy that time. And it's just as crazy. I've not been partaken in a bull run yet, but I've been told that's just as emotional. So I think Richard, there you go.
I managed to get in it for the last one at around about 4.5. What did it go up to? Around about 17.
Yeah.
And I was like, woohoo! But then I wasn't paying attention, and hadn't played around with Coinbase enough for me to exit at the right time. Got locked out of my own Coinbase account and saw it drop all the way down. So I made all that money and lost it all, right? So that's why education is important, right? You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay. And these are the examples. And also sometimes with Coinbase, they just shut down. And there's been 3 specific pumps or dumps when they've shut down. And that's also a big issue. So it's just understanding all this. Like, I've got some of my money on a wallet, but then the process to move it from the wallet to a Coinbase is still, for me, probably a 10-minute process, because I don't want to suddenly find out I've sent it to the wrong account. I don't have a phone number I can ring. So I think when it comes to prices, there's some people that are in the group that have not invested yet because they're ready. They're waiting for the right time. And it always comes back to, I think it's a really brilliant saying, time in the market is better than timing the market. And my personal view now with anything I hold, I'm not bothered about selling some to buy back in at a lower price. I'm 90% not bothered. I'm a creator profile, I've always got that maybe. But I am pro, if the price drops down, I'll buy some more, because I think it's a good opportunity to get in, because I strongly believe in the future of blockchain and crypto. And I specifically now, I don't care how much energy it uses at the minute, the space of energy in general, or energy production on this planet, is going to shift in the next few years. But I think what Bitcoin offers as a secure store of value that nobody owns, yes, okay, whales can influence it, but there isn't a market on the planet that people with lots of money haven't had influence in. It's just another market, whether it's textiles, finance, home building, big players will always have big leverage. But I think the future of what Bitcoin can offer for people as a completely anonymous, independent, not attached to a country store of value is, we've never seen that in our life. Gold's probably the closest that you've ever seen. Most people don't own any gold. And dependent on what happens with governments have called back gold. They have made it illegal to hold gold in the past. Would they do it again? I don't think so, but my God, anything can happen, anything. So I think that the future is what's the most important. And if there's going to be a price drop, you just have to ask yourself the question, how bothered am I? Is it an opportunity, or do I see it as a risk? And so long as you're clear with that, it will help making decisions. And when that drop happens, that will impact all the rest of the market. So Andy, you were talking about, is it worthwhile investing in different crypto? I'll ask for an open question from everyone on this, but my short answer is yes. My slightly longer answer is yes, but group them into, I use the term lightly, safer alternative coins, riskier alternative coins, and then these ones over here is like betting on the Grand National. And you might. How do you know the difference? Generally speaking, my opinion, the safer coins are in like the top 10, top 15 coins. And you can just go on any coin chart and just click on, you rank them in order and they're there. Generally speaking, depends what you're ranking in. The mid coins are the ones that have got a good team behind them. They're in the top 30, top 40. They're doing well. They've got good partnerships. When was the last time they made a partnership? Who is that partnership with? And the ones over here are the ones that are attacking completely new industries that we're not in the season of yet. So this year is all about DeFi, decentralized finance, and it's all about coins that are making smart contracts and that are offering staking returns. And it's all about how do these coins benefit the financial markets. The next coins that are going to come through are about gaming. How do you tokenize gaming, which is like a multi-billion-dollar industry? Medicine, understanding medicine and what people are working with, and being able to track people's symptoms from medicine real time, bringing them into a database to suddenly understand that people that take this medicine with that medicine are actually having adverse reactions real time. Property, and I can't think of any other stuff. There's loads of new industries. Sport. Yeah. How do I know? See that baseball cap that's on Richard's head? How do I know that's genuine, as opposed to Richard going to Bangkok recently and buying that genuine fake for $5? Now, I know Richard, so I know he would never do that. But if he did, how would you know? And there's new stuff on merchandise where I can take my phone, just hold my camera up to it, and it will verify that that item is a genuine item on blockchain, where it was made, where the materials came from, how much it was sold for, when it was sold, everything recorded, genuine, completely impossible to fake. So all these people, like, I didn't appreciate how big the trainer industry is. Like, people actually buy trainer shelves and put them in glass cabinets and will wear them once or twice. It's massive. So there's
a lot of fake medicines out there as well.
Yeah, there's fake. I mean, what industry doesn't have a dodgy side to it? So
it's even it literally covers every single gamut of life, industry, contracts, all the rest of it in between. You know, to the point where I think there's a basketball player that tokenized his contract, or he tokenized 30% of his contract, sold it on to people, and then think how many coins you gave sort of allowed you to vote on certain decisions in his life about his professional career, right? But he basically, that allowed him to turn, I don't know, say 30 million. He put 8 million turned it into tokens, and then tokenized that 8 million, raised another 20 million. Allowed him to realize his contract sooner so that he can go and invest into other stuff. So there's people doing things like that. I think Barcelona have bought into that Chili's token, which is basically a similar sort of thing where it's fan-led buying tokens. So there's so many interesting things. It just depends what. I think you can almost get to the point where this is what's so amazing about it is to say, what am I personally interested in? Because there'll probably be a coin, a token, and a company that is passionate about the same things you are, and you can go and find out as much as you want about them because in theory they're on the blockchain, right? You can do all the deep dive about finding about the industry, about the company, about the founders, about what they're into. And I think that's where we're going to now. It's this transparency, which is much better. Whereas the last bull run, there was all the things you called ICOs, which are initial coin offerings, but there's loads of people scamming everyone else and saying this is going to be this and this is going to be that, and people were buying all these coins and losing so much money because they were scams basically. And we're moving out of that space. There still are scammers out there, but if you were going to try and, again, I think it's like what Daniel said. I think it's so important to understand first off Bitcoin and what that means, because everything else is separate to Bitcoin. It really is. Bitcoin is really around owning your own sovereignty. It's a word we use quite a lot in this group, isn't it? It's about making sovereign choices, owning your own money, and understanding how different it is from the current financial system, and how it gives you back control over your own money and to make your own decisions, basically. So
yeah.
So
all of these different. I'm just going to mute that. All of these, I mean, there's just over 4,000 coins last time I looked, which is a lot. And I just grouped them into those 3 categories from a risk profile, and then you could group each of those into categories according to what problem do they solve. Because ultimately, the bigger the problem, the bigger the potential. So when you start, we will start to make a list of ones that we've looked at as a group of us, because one of the big things for future leaders is obviously sense making. Like, how do we start to make sense of crypto? What does it mean? And what does everything that's going on the planet right now, what does it actually mean? And how does it impact me? How does it impact you? And how does it impact us as a society, as a collective, as a community? And the reason we've spent so much time on blockchain and crypto so far is because it's the biggest thing that is occurring under everyone's nose, that the general narrative is that it's happening, but it's scary. So people can kind of see it being discussed and see it moving, but at the same time, there's so much fear in the market, and having sovereignty over your own finances, everything is huge. So as we start to make more sense of all of these coins, we will share our best thinking so far so that people can have a bit of an idea. But we don't want to just hand stuff over, because it's about empowerment. And I would want everyone on this call, anyone listening at any point, to know what you're investing in and why. Even if that's just because you're like, I looked at it, I liked who they're working with, I like the problem they're solving, cool. You don't have to understand how it works, but some awareness of it, I think, is really important. So that question came up because Andy was asking, is it worth investing in different coins? And my caveat on that is, what you don't want to do is just throw the mud at the wall on 200 coins. So lots of different coins are where my caveat is. Does anyone else want to put their 2 pence in on what their view is on investing in different coins? Anything that's not been said?
Only that there are a lot of shit coins out there as well as altcoins. So, you know, there's just a lot of rubbish up there and out there as well. So it's all about due diligence, and also I listen to several different commentators and pundits every day. I read all the crypto news. I look at all the different websites before I invest.
Who do you listen to, Virginia? Who would you say your top content creators for obtaining crypto news? I'm curious.
Right. So my go-to guy first thing in the morning is Lark Davis. I love him. Then I have Breakfast with Ivan on Tech. I've joined his academy. so I'm learning very, very slowly about blockchain development. And I listen to Chico Crypto, and I'm thinking about joining the trading group of Crypto Revolution. It's not cheap, but I'm interested in learning about trading, and he seems to be pretty well respected, so I'm thinking about joining his trading group. At the moment I'm just learning so much that I haven't quite got round to that yet. And for anybody who likes their tinfoil hat, then every day I listen to the Dollar Vigilante, who's Jeff Berwick, and he does a YouTube video every day, and he is also talks about finance and money and crypto as well. So I really like him. So yeah, I spend quite a lot of time in a day listening
in. There are some really good ones on there, and a few I didn't know. I've heard mixed bags about Chico Crypto when I read comments.
I think he knows. I think he knows his stuff. I think he really does know his stuff. But we don't know. Some of them will say that they have a bag of whatever coin they happen to be shilling, but you never really know. But I think he's just Chico Crypto, or Tyler has just been talking about Energy Web token, which is, I think I've heard. Then if I hear other pundits talk about it, and then I have a look at it, and Energy Web token looks like a good buy to me. So yeah,
cool.
with all of them, they give you some tips, and then you go and do your own, which they all tell you to do.
I will say this: I like Crypto Revolution, but if you've not traded before and you're just getting into it, there is an obscene amount of absolutely free information, so that at least you can. I thought I really wanted to trade, and so I started looking into it, and I started doing bits of trades. But after a while, I realized I'm glad I've learned, because I can look at a chart, but I realized that I'm not really designed for trading.
I don't think I am either. So that's a top tip. Where will I look for some basic?
Well, I'll tell you who does the one that I really like is Mango Research. I'll just type Mango Crypto. I don't know what their actual name is, but I think it's Mango Research. And I'll tell you who else I follow. Hugh. Give me a second. Hugh. I want to say it's called Hugh Financial.
Oh, wait.
Hugh Fin News, HFN.
Yeah. I
tell you what, the way he explains, he just sets up one trade at a time, does a video, it lasts 6 minutes. He's really calm, he's really simple, and he'll teach you more. And his group to join is peanuts. Like he gave me a price once, and I was like, "Is that monthly?" He said, "No, that's for the year." And I was like, "Wow." And he'll really, really help. So I think you join Crypto Revolution if you're serious about trading, because he uses the power. I mean, he's got like 2,000 people in his group, and they collectively set up trades. But if you're just interested in learning more, you can pretty much do it for free.
Okay, and I follow him on Library, and you get Library tokens.
I've not used Library much yet, but I've been hearing lots about it.
Yeah, okay. I think it's a good platform. I think Hufin News is the one that has that horrible he just plays this horrible background music the whole way through.
He does.
That's the one, isn't it? It's like, I can't listen. It's awful.
It seems to be a thing right now that it seems to be a thing that YouTube players, because Digital Asset News started doing it, and they play horrible royalty-free music throughout. I don't know.
Although he doesn't do that anymore, Digital Asset News. He's another one I listen to. I like him too.
I like him. I'm conscious of time, but I just want to really quickly cover for everybody. But Richard, Oliver, we can go into it when we're chatting privately anyway. But you talked about how do we protect money or crypto so that other people can get access to it. And recently, I won't go into detail, but I know recently, like Richard, losing your phone, getting back into two-factor authentication, all the stuff like that. Anyone that's not aware, Angelita, are you aware what two-factor authentication is? When you have to put a 6-digit code in that you get off an app from your phone. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough having at least two-factor authentication on everything, absolute least. But having access to a loved one, partners, children, parents' accounts with permission, of course, I think is really, really, really important, because you've got no idea what's going to happen. And I think, like, so many people who watch this will have, if you're in a relationship, one of you might be more of the crypto than the other one. Well, it doesn't matter what happens with wills and things like that. If you might not have written down in your will that you've got a Coinbase account or a random account somewhere that you opened up and forgot about, and you put a Bitcoin in it, and it's 10 years down the line and it's worth 150, 200,000 pounds, and your missus or husband or partner knows that you did it but has got no record of it. That's the sort of stuff that I think happens. And so I think keeping security in mind, having some way that whoever needs to knows these are the places where I have accounts, wallets, things like that, and having some organized, professional, secure method of gaining access, LastPass, OnePass, Passman, all of these tools that hold all of your passwords and are very secure. Their whole job is security. And having your two-factor authentication somewhere that's got some way to be backed up, so that I apologize for using such if you died in a car crash and your phone's smashed up, which means all your two-factor authentication's gone, how does somebody else that you trust gain access to your sites? So thinking of that now, I think, is really important, so that it mitigates that problem should it happen. So Ollie, we can discuss it in more detail, but I want everyone that's listening here to just know that this isn't like a bank. And I've got no idea what would happen if someone passed over and had 3 or 4 different exchanges. How would your children even know you had them? I doubt that there's some global search of bank accounts when you die. It's pretty much what's in the will. I'm getting some nods, yeah? So that needs thinking about. For me, I'm a massive advocate of LastPass, Authy, and OnePass. I trust them. That's what they do. My passwords now are like, I don't even know, probably like 28, 30 characters long. I've no idea what they are. And I trust it, and I understand how to use it. It's a bit of a learning curve, but I really want everyone, if you can remember your password, it is probably not strong enough. And if you're definitely using the same password more than once, really, so much of your life now revolves online. So much of your life revolves online. You wouldn't just kind of throw your keys under a plant pot next to your door. Maybe some of you do, I don't know. But you shouldn't do. So having strong online security, I think, is really important. And I think, especially the people on this call, most of you, I would imagine all of you grew up without the internet and climbing trees and stuff like that. I know I did, and I imagine for the most part, Ollie, you did as well. Like, we fit into that category where at some point in our late 10s, early teens, computers came around. And so there's a whole generation that fits into this age bracket and above that have never practiced sensible security making online. We were just told one day to pick a password. And 20 years, 30 years later, we're using variations of that password because now we have to have an exclamation mark and whatever and whatever. And I think the younger generation are much more used to how do you manage online security. So that's what I really wanted to just pass over. And Oliver, does that give enough of a bit of an unpacking of your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something that I'm looking into, trying to work out how to work that, and make sense of it, because obviously it's something that's got to be viable to you and your loved one, but then also from you and your loved one to our children. Something happened to me and Julie, and we put a large amount of our fund into that. You know, people know what we own generally, house and so on, property, but in the crypto space, it's how do you pass that on to the family, and how do you control it? So it's thinking about that process, what system, what you actually do to make that work. It's great having a will, but if there's no way to get that access to that money, well, there is no way unless you think about that process and create that system. And I know that you could, if we had money in a NISA with NatWest, and they would better get access through the through the probate system. So it's being aware of that and putting in systems and processes to make it usable.
I think what we'll do, we're on every call we cover stuff, and sometimes I think this needs capturing. So I said I was going to put it on one of my course sender sites for free for people, just so that at least it's captured somewhere. And I think this is a really good point. Is one, how do you secure it, which is a conversation in itself. Two, how do you hand over, pass down the ability to manage that security? Because once you start using things like OnePass and everything, if your kids don't, having whoever your next of kin is having access to that is invaluable in this world, because the amount of time it would take to go through probate to gain access to an exchange account, my God, I wouldn't even want to begin the process. It's hard enough asking them a support ticket question. So these are all really, really good things. And at some point, I'm writing them all down as we're going along. So there's some good stuff that we can pull up. But I wanted to just unpack it enough for everyone to just gain something from it. So we're 10 minutes over. I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm going to cover, before I ask everyone for final words, Andy, you're going to look into receiving money on your Exodus wallet. No, you're not.
I think first of all, I'm going to open a crypto.com account and then learn my way around that as well. Transfer some my Bitcoin over to crypto.com.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm going to work with Angelita on her receiving. And Richard was going to speak with Elaine, or Elaine have a look around at Elaine passing that, paying forward the crypto onto Angelita so that you can go through that experience. I'll work with you on Angelita on that. Don't you worry.
Thank you. Is there anyone who'd be able to help me understand how to buy a coin on Binance?
I'm pretty good on Binance. So let's have a call, because I'm actually moving off it. But let's have a call about it. I've used Binance for the last year, so I'm really cool with that. I don't usually promote it, but I'll happily help you with it. Of course I will.
I think it's the only place I could find the coin. I can't
What coin
remember
is
what
it?
coin. I can't remember now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, send it over, because I'd be definitely interested.
All right, thank you.
Alan, you're going to message crypto.com and ask them how secure and protected we are.
Okay.
Coolly. I think that's it for bits of homework at the minute for this time. And it's just nice that we...
blockchain. I'm going to write the blockchain thingy.
Yes, perfect. Thank you for that, Virginia. And just whenever it's ready, just share it in whatever form it is and we can have a look. Cool. Okay, so before we leave, I do want to say definitely thank you to Virginia for joining. Thanks, Ollie. I think, Ollie, you invited Virginia, is that right?
Will did.
Will did, that was it, Will did. A lot of time and love for Will. Does anybody, before we go, have anything they want to share or ask? All good? Fantastic. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for sharing all your experiences and everything as well, especially for the people that are on Facebook that have been watching. There's lots of people that don't know what's going on, and as we said at the beginning, really just trying to bring a bit of lightness and clarity and steps along the way for anyone, regardless of your journey. So if anyone's listening and wants to join, there was already links on there if you're listening afterwards or during all of this. To everyone's on this call, thank you. Just keep sharing in the group as well, and we will be back to Tuesdays next week. I hope so. And thank you for everyone being flexible and joining today. All right. Take care, everyone. Much love, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.